Gary Rousseau here. I'm going to talk about JMeter. I use JMeter to test MarkLogic search applications. So we have the web page here. JMeter is an Apache open source, free to use. You can download the binary here. Runs in Linux or Windows. Once you download it, you'll see I prefer to put it into my Java subdirectory, and I have Apache JMeter 2.9, and all the binaries are in this bin subdirectory here. I'm going to just launch the client here. I got the simple command line. Runs the batch program. Let's see, here's JMeter. I'm going to quickly open up a pre-canned test plan. Here's the test plan. I just quickly review what I have here. So I call it load test 1, and you can see there are 600 users. The ramp up period is 1800 seconds, so it's 30 minutes. So it's going to bring 600 users online within 30 minutes. It's going to be one new user every 3 seconds. Once we get all the users in, it's going to loop twice. When I say loop, it's going to send these, it's going to execute these two scenarios. Each user is going to execute these scenarios. These scenarios consist of a series of HTTP requests. These requests are known as samplers. So let's take a look at this landing page here. Expand this. It records the request. In this case, I have a parameter. We'll talk about that in a second. But it also shows here's the header, headers to be expected. I got a series of these here. Here's an example of a search. So there's a query that's submitted, Hadoop with a MapReduce, a series of parameters. This is all recorded earlier. We'll talk about that shortly. Just want to review here. So I have this other item here called user-defined variables. It's called target host. This is what I use to parameterize the requests. In this case, I'm hitting a test environment. If I wanted to go against a production server, I would just change this to just online, wiley.com. So let's look at, here's the scenario 1 is very simple. It's an anonymous, non-login. Scenario 2 is a login. So if I click on this login sampler here, you'll see that there are parameters that are submitted. One other thing to make note of is this view results table. These are called listeners. I use 3 of them. There's the view results. They call that a summary. This is the graph, and this is an aggregate report. To add it, you just right-click on this item here, and you select your listener. And here's your different listeners. My preferred is the aggregate and the summary. So let's just do a quick run here. I'm gonna just run for a few minutes. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I click on this green button here, and we'll see some results come by. Just click on the listener. I prefer to click on this scroll automatically, so that once it scrolls down, it scrolls off the page, it's continuous. You can see upper right corner, we got 6 users, slowly ramping up. We look at the graph results, you'll see a graph starting to take shape. And then the aggregate report here. I prefer this. This is the most accurate one. These number samples usually correspond with the number of users up here. Later on, I will save this data to a local spreadsheet. And you can see here the page response times. And you can see errors that may occur here. This is the throughput number. But I prefer to look at page response time and a few other things. Let me just stop this right now. I don't think we need to continue with this. Stop that right there. And we have enough test results. You can see it's saving the results out to this JTL file, which is another XML file, which we may not use. So anyway, this is the process of running. My next screencast will be, I'll show you how to quickly create the test plan. This is Gary Russo of Mark Logic.